After giving birth to twins, woman is shocked when husband demands, "We can only keep one, decide which one it will be." Donna had always been a calm, kind, and generous woman. She spoke little, listened a lot. By nature, she avoided conflict, always opting for peace, even when everything around her seemed to be falling apart. Her eyes carried a serene sparkle, one that resisted chaos. She grew up in a simple home, marked by the strength of women and the absence of men. From a young age, she nourished the desire to create a family that was different, solid, loving, stable, everything she never had. When she met Scott, she thought she had found that future. He seemed like the perfect man, polite, centered, speaking calmly, with a stable life. In the beginning, he was attentive, protective, hard-working, but over time, subtle and constant signs of control began to appear. Comments disguised as advice, unilateral decisions, heavy silences that hurt more than words. Donna accepted it, believing it was just part of living together. When she became pregnant, she felt immense joy, as if an old dream was finally coming true. But Scott reacted coldly, with no emotion, only stating that it was the right time. She swallowed the disappointment and focused on the future. Months later, upon discovering she was expecting twins, she cried with happiness. Scott, on the other hand, said nothing. He fell silent with a dark, distant look, and once again she chose to pretend she didn't see it. During the months following the discovery of the twin pregnancy, Donna plunged even deeper into the dream of building the home she had always envisioned. She devoted each day to preparing the baby's room with almost sacred attention, as if stitching the names Andrew and Patrick onto the fabric was a way of fixing love into the reality of life. She sewed by hand, sitting for hours in silence, caressing her belly between stitches, feeling the kicks as small confirmations that her children were there, alive, growing inside her. She read everything she could find about raising twins, taking notes, making plans, and daydreaming about the two of them running through the house, playing, growing up together as lifelong partners in crime. Meanwhile, Scott seemed to grow even more distant. Conversations, which had already been dry, became almost non-existent. He would come home from work and go straight to the bedroom or sit for hours on the couch, eyes glued to the television, not saying a word about the pregnancy. He didn't ask about the exams, didn't caress her belly, didn't show any curiosity about the baby's development. When Donna tried to share some news, like the moment she felt both babies kick at the same time, he responded with indifference. "Today they kicked together. It was so strong I almost lost my balance," Donna said, smiling as she held a cup of tea. Murmured Scott, not looking away from the screen. "They seem to be recognizing each other already. Do you believe that?" she insisted, trying to spark a moment of connection. "You know I'm worried about other things right now, right?" Scott said, impatient. Donna lowered her eyes, feeling the old discomfort take over. Even so, she didn't give up. She still believed that once the babies were born, Scott would change. She thought that love would come with the contact, the newborn's cries, the smell of their skin. She kept this hope alive, as if it were a candle lit in the midst of a storm. One night, while setting up the last crib alone, struggling due to the weight of her belly, she tried to start a more direct conversation. "Scott, do you really think we won't be able to handle two babies? It's not about handling it. It's about having structure. You know how our finances are," he replied, fiddling with his phone. "But I can help later. I can start working from home. I've thought about all of this. Donna, it's not just money. It's the emotional weight, the responsibility. It's not as simple as you think," he cut her off. "But they're our children," she said, her voice almost breaking. "I didn't ask for two," he replied flatly before leaving the room. Donna stood frozen, facing the two cribs she had assembled. She felt the distance between her and her husband growing like an invisible, deep crack, separating two worlds. But still, She held on to the belief that in the end, everything would change. In the early morning, when everything started, Donna woke with a different kind of pain, sharp and rhythmic, which she soon recognized as contractions. The clock read just after 3 in the morning. She slowly sat up in bed, short of breath, her hand gripping her already heavy belly. She waited a few minutes, trying to convince herself that it might be false labor, but the pain returned, stronger. She reached out and touched Scott's shoulder, who was sleeping beside her, motionless. "Scott, I think it's starting," she said, her voice shaky. He slowly opened his eyes, still half asleep. "Now?" "Yes. It's been almost an hour now. They're coming regularly. I need to go to the hospital." Scott sighed and got up without hurry. "Are you sure? Can't you wait a little longer?" "No. The pain is coming in short intervals. It could be quick. It's common with twins," she explained, already leaning to try to get up, struggling with the weight of her belly. All right, I'll grab the things," he responded, as if they were just running errands at the bank. On the way to the hospital, Donna twisted in the car seat, clutching the edge of her seat. The contractions intensified, tearing through the tense silence of the drive with her muted groans. Scott drove silently, eyes on the road, not even holding her hand. When they arrived, she could barely walk on her own. A nurse rushed over with a wheelchair. "How many weeks?" the nurse asked as she wheeled Donna inside. 38. "It's twins," Donna said, between contractions. Hours of pain and waiting followed. Despite the attentive team, the process seemed slower than expected. Donna was exhausted but focused. Scott entered the delivery room, but he spent most of the time in the corner, fiddling with his phone like an awkward bystander, not the father of the children who were about to be born. Donna tried to stay present, mentally firm, despite the coldness around her. When the medical team decided it was time, Donna was taken to the delivery room. Her legs trembled, not only from the pain, but also from fear and anticipation. The room was bright, cold, filled with technical voices and quick movements. Her heart raced, and her breath came in short bursts, in sync with the tension. Andrew was born first, strong, crying loudly, and when Donna heard that cry, the world seemed to stop for a moment. A tear slid down her cheek, and she barely had time to recover when, minutes later, Patrick came into the world, also healthy, crying forcefully, as if announcing his arrival. She cried with them, unable to hold back. It was a cry of relief, of exhaustion, of deep happiness. Her body hurt in every corner, but her heart was full. For the first time in her life, she felt complete. She was a mother of 2. And at that moment, she believed everything would make sense from there on. But Scott didn't look at the children. He didn't ask their weights, didn't want to hold them. He stood motionless in the corner of the room, arms crossed, as if waiting for a meeting to end. Donna watched him with tired eyes, waiting for any reaction, any sign of affection, but he remained silent. Sometime later, when the room had fallen silent, Scott approached the bed where she lay with the 2 babies in her arms. "Donna, we need to talk," he said, with his usual coldness. She looked up, still groggy from the anesthesia, her hair stuck to her forehead, her skin pale. "Now?" He stood silent for a few seconds. He ran a hand through his neck, looked down at the floor, then at the door, as if expecting someone to rescue him from this conversation. Finally, he looked back at her, and his voice was low but firm. "I've thought a lot, really, since we found out it was twins. I've been trying to understand how this will work, and it won't. There's no way." Donna furrowed her brow. "What are you talking about?" "I'm saying that we can't take both of them home." The sentence came in fragments, and he took a deep breath before continuing. 2 babies at the same time. It's too much. It's more than we can handle. Emotionally, financially, in every way. She stared at him, not understanding, her mind slowly spinning, still clouded by the after-effects of childbirth. You're saying that you want to give one of them away? Yes, he answered flatly. One of the babies will need to be given up for adoption. We keep one. It's the most rational decision. It's the best for everyone. Donna's eyes widened. You're joking, right? I'm not. It's a rational decision. You need to be mature. Pick one. The other we'll give away legally, he said, turning to leave the room. No, you can't be serious, she murmured, trying to sit up, but the pain in her body kept her down. I've said all I need to say, he added, before walking out. Donna began to tremble. Tears came immediately, a flood she couldn't control. She tried to breathe, but her chest was tight, as if her heart were being crushed from the inside. The babies slept on her, innocent, unaware of what had just happened. She cried until she lost strength, until her eyes burned. Hours later, she tried to speak to him again, but he refused to talk. Scott, for God's sake, this doesn't make sense. There's no discussion. It's already decided, he replied, not even looking at her. You're taking my children away from me. Do you want to raise both of them alone? Do you think it's possible? Be rational, Donna, he said, as if she were overreacting. Donna remained silent for hours. She couldn't eat, speak, or even sleep. She held Andrew with one arm, Patrick with the other, and her eyes remained fixed on the ceiling. Every minute, she relived Scott's words like repeated blows. The room, once filled with dreams, now felt like a cell. Amidst the anguish, a young nurse entered to check the baby's vital signs. Upon seeing Donna's state, red eyes, empty expression, lips dry from crying, the young woman hesitated. Everything okay in here? She asked softly while adjusting Patrick's monitor. Donna didn't answer. She simply turned her face, pressing the children against her chest. The nurse watched in silence for a few seconds, trying to understand what was happening beyond the usual postpartum exhaustion. When she left the room, she crossed paths with Ava in the hallway, the experienced nurse who had assisted during the birth. Ava, could you check on the patient in room 212, the one who had twins? Something's wrong there. Ava nodded and went to the room. Minutes later, she returned, visibly shaken. She didn't say anything, but there's something really wrong. Her husband left not long ago. He was saying absurd things in the hallway with a doctor, that they're only taking one baby home, that the other will be put up for adoption. What? Exclaimed the younger nurse, her eyes wide. He really said that? Word for word, as if he were choosing a piece of furniture, Ava said, furious. Within minutes, the murmurs spread among the staff. Discreet comments surfaced during appointments. This couldn't go unanswered. Ava contacted the on-call supervisor, and following the hospital protocol for cases of possible negligence or abuse, they requested the presence of a social worker. Elizabeth arrived at the hospital early in the afternoon, urgently summoned. She was known for her ethical stance and sensitivity, and when she was informed about what Scott had said, she didn't hesitate. Room 212. Mother's name, Donna, she noted, before heading straight down the corridor. When she entered, Donna was still in the same position, motionless, pale, with both babies lying on her chest. Elizabeth approached carefully, sitting in a chair nearby. Good afternoon, Donna. My name is Elizabeth. I'm a social worker at the hospital. I've been told there's a delicate situation with your children's father. Do you feel ready to talk? Donna didn't answer right away. Her eyes filled with tears even before her mouth opened. Her voice came out low and trembling. He wants me to choose one of them, as if they were disposable, as if I could just give one away. Elizabeth furrowed her brow, holding back her own anger. You won't have to do that. That's unacceptable. We'll handle this the right way, okay? But right now, I need to make sure you and the babies are safe. You can trust me." Donna nodded with a slight movement of her head, her lips trembling. Elizabeth's presence, though firm, didn't ease the desperation. Every time Donna looked at the boys, her heart seemed to bleed. How could someone expect her to choose between them? How could she look at one and say, "You stay," and at the other, "You go"? It was an unbearable thought. Later that afternoon, Helen, Rosalia's sister, rushed to the hospital, accompanied by Robert, her husband. As soon as they learned about the birth, they had prepared to visit her sister and meet the nephews. Helen was 2 years older than Donna, strong and protective since childhood. They had been raised together in the same simple house, taking care of each other during the toughest times. If Donna was silence and delicacy, Helen was firmness and presence. She was used to taking charge, solving problems, and now, when she entered the room and saw her sister shattered, she stopped at the door, unable to speak. "Donna," she said breathlessly, slowly approaching. "What happened? Please tell me what's going on." Donna lifted her eyes slowly, her face swollen from crying. He wants me to choose one of the boys. He wants to give one of them away." Helen covered her mouth with her hand. "He said that to you? Like that? After the birth?" Donna nodded, sobbing. As if it were normal, as if it made sense. Robert stood by the door, incredulous. "This is completely insane. We need to do something now." Helen sat next to her sister, taking one of her hands in hers. "You're not going to do this. You're not going to choose. We'll find a way. We'll take one home, if necessary. But you're not separating them. Not like this." "This just makes everything worse," Donna whispered, her voice cracking. "I don't want to separate them. Not for a day. Not for an hour." Robert took a deep breath, swallowing his anger. That man has completely lost his mind. He has no idea what he's asking for. This is monstrous. The next morning, Carol, Scott's mother, arrived at the hospital. She came alone, as if visiting a sick relative out of obligation. She entered the room with firm but cold steps. Donna no longer found the tone of her mother-in-law surprising, but still, her stomach churned seeing her there. "Donna, I know Scott spoke with you, and look, I understand it's difficult, but you both need to think clearly about the future. 2 babies at once is an exaggeration." Donna didn't answer. She simply stared at her, motionless. "Your house is small. Your bills are tight. It's not shameful to admit it's too much. Sometimes thinking of everyone means making sacrifices," Carol said, as if speaking about a pet someone can no longer keep. "It's not up to you to decide. They're my children," Donna said, her voice trembling but determined. "Your father-in-law always said, 'Too many kids destroy the peace of a home.' And he was right," Carol retorted, as if that were family wisdom. Donna remained silent for a few seconds. Then she looked directly into her mother-in-law's eyes and with cold calmness said, "Leave my room." Carol raised her eyebrows, surprised by the firmness, but she said nothing. She turned around and left, as if she hadn't been expelled, but she was. Donna was weak, yes. Her body was still recovering, her mind in ruins. But inside her, something was beginning to reignite. A silent but determined resistance. She wouldn't choose, not for Scott, not for anyone. If there was any strength left in her, she would use it to protect her children. Both of them. The night after Carol's cold visit was silent, but tense. Donna hardly slept. She gently ran her hands through Andrew and Patrick's fine hair as she rocked them on her chest. She felt their light breathing against her skin, as if each breath was a thread stitching the torn pieces of her heart back together. Helen, sitting beside her, watched her in silence, battling exhaustion. Her red, worried eyes were focused on the slightest sign of instability from her sister. She knew Donna was on the verge of collapse. In the morning, after hours of vigil, she got up slowly and said she would go to the hospital's cafe to grab something light to eat. Donna simply nodded, still lost in her own silence. Minutes later, the door opened slowly. Scott entered, alone. He was impeccably dressed, as if nothing were out of place, as if he hadn't left chaos behind. He carefully shut the door, as though trying not to wake a sick person. Donna froze when she saw him. "I just want to talk," he said, lowering his voice. "I didn't come to argue." She didn't respond. She just adjusted the babies in her lap, as if instinctively protecting them with her body. "You're tired, I know, and maybe I spoke badly, but everything I said was thinking of you, of us, of our future." Donna remained silent, but her chest rose and fell more sharply. Scott took 2 steps toward her slowly. "Donna, look at me. Just listen to me, please. I'm trying to resolve this, but we need to make a decision. We can't avoid this. Have you thought about it? Have you chosen?" She closed her eyes for a moment. She wanted to disappear. She wanted him to vanish, but he kept going. "I remember when we first met. You said you wanted peace. I offered that, and I still want to offer it. But for that, you need to trust me. We can't keep 2 babies in a home without structure. One will have a better life with another family. This isn't abandoning them. It's choosing with maturity." Donna opened her eyes. She looked at him for the first time, and for the first time, she didn't see doubt. She saw hatred. "You want me to give away my child, as if it were an old pair of shoes. There's nothing mature about this, Scott. It's monstrous." "Don't talk to me like that," he retorted, his calm starting to crack. "I'm their father. I have the right to decide too. You haven't touched them since they were born. You haven't looked them in the eyes. You lost all right." Before Scott could respond, the door opened forcefully. Helen walked in with a bag in her hand and stopped immediately when she saw him there. "What's he doing here?" she asked, stepping forward. "I just came to talk." "I have the right," Scott answered, raising his voice. "You have the right to leave here now, before I call security," Helen said, her eyes burning. "This isn't over," he replied before leaving, slamming the door harder than necessary. Donna started to cry. Helen ran to her and dropped the bag on the floor. "Did he do something? Did he touch you?" "No, he just talked. The same things, like it was normal, like I was wrong for not obeying." Helen took a deep breath and took her sister's hand. "Donna, look at me." Donna didn't answer. She kept her gaze fixed on the emptiness, as if trying to stay present without breaking down. "You can't keep going like this. I know it's all confusing. I know you're still weak, but he won't stop. If you don't do something, he'll come back here and try to force you again." "I can't think. I just look at them and feel fear," Donna responded, her voice breaking. Helen got closer, squeezing her hand tighter. "Then let me think for you. At least now, there's someone who can help you. Do you remember Kathleen?" Donna blinked as if waking up. "The lawyer?" "Yes, the one who helped our cousin when her ex-husband tried to take custody of her son. She's direct, firm, she knows what she's doing. She likes you, always has. I can call her now." Donna hesitated for a moment. The bruised pride, the feeling of defeat, the exhaustion, everything pushed her down. But the fear of losing her children was stronger. "Call her," she said finally, her voice low. "Call her, please." Helen wasted no time. She grabbed her phone, went into the hospital hallway, and dialed Kathleen's number. She answered, still half asleep. "Helen, is everything okay?" "No, it's not. It's about Donna. She just had the babies. And her husband. He's trying to do something absurd. I need you to come." Kathleen arrived at the hospital that night, wearing a coat over her nightshirt and holding a folder. She was a woman with a strong presence, direct gaze, and secure speech. When she entered the room, she greeted Donna with a delicate but firm handshake. "Donna, I heard a bit about what's happening. I won't pretend to be surprised. I've seen similar things. But what he's trying to do is illegal. It's inhumane, and you have the right to protection." Donna nodded, her eyes misty. "I just want to stay with my children, that's all. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But for that, we're going to act now. I'll need some medical documents, testimonies from those who witnessed his behavior, and your authorization to file for a protective order. I don't even know where to start." "I know. I'll take care of that. You just need to trust me." The next morning, Kathleen met with Elizabeth, the social worker, and Ava, the nurse who had witnessed the tension in the postpartum room. The two immediately agreed to report what they had seen and heard. Ava provided a detailed report on Scott's conduct, mentioning how cold and inhumane he had spoken about the babies. Elizabeth added her own notes and urgently sent everything to the court. "Will this go quickly?" Helen asked, anxious. With the weight of the testimonies and Donna's emotional state. "Yes, the court doesn't mess around when newborns are involved," Kathleen replied. 3 days later, the response came. A judge ordered the immediate suspension of joint custody and granted protective measures against Scott. He was prohibited from approaching Donna or making legal decisions about the children until the investigation was complete. The news was received with relief at the hospital, but Scott didn't take the decision well. When he was notified, he slammed the door and disappeared for 2 days. On the 3rd day, a handwritten letter arrived at the hospital room. It was carefully folded, with his handwriting on the envelope. Helen grabbed it before Donna could see. "Do you want me to read it first?" she asked. "No, let me handle it," Donna responded. She sat down with the babies asleep next to her and opened the letter with trembling hands. Scott had written 2 pages. He talked about the beginning of their relationship, the good moments, saying that she had overreacted, that she didn't need to involve a lawyer or the hospital, that things could be solved between them, that she had betrayed his trust, that he only wanted what was best for the family. Donna finished reading with an impassive face. She folded the letter and placed it on the table beside her. She didn't say anything. But inside her, something had changed. The pain was still there, but now it came with something new. Clarity. "He doesn't miss the kids," she murmured. "He misses the control he had over me." In the following days, new letters arrived. Some were long, others full of sentimental pleas. None were answered. Donna read them all, but not with her heart. She read with the eyes of someone who finally saw. None of it was real remorse. It was manipulation. Meanwhile, Carol disappeared. After her disastrous visit to the hospital, she didn't call, didn't ask about the grandchildren. To her, the case had become too inconvenient. A stain she preferred to pretend didn't exist. Donna was discharged and went to Helen and Robert's house. The family welcomed all 3 as if preparing for a battle. The guest room became a nest. Helen split her time between helping with the babies and overseeing every step of the process with Kathleen. At night, they would often sit in the living room in silence, rocking Andrew and Patrick in their arms, crying together. Donna still couldn't speak at all. Sometimes she just cried, sometimes she just breathed deeply. But she was there, surviving. "You'll come out of this stronger," Helen said one night. "I just want to be able to sleep without fear," Donna replied, her eyes fixed on the children. And with time, the fear turned into anger, and the anger, strength. With each letter Scott sent, each lie, each attempt to reverse the game, Donna became harder. Kathleen gathered reports, declarations, and documents. The judge had access to everything. The hospital reports, Scott's unstable behavior, his complete absence of affection or responsibility in the first days of the children's lives. The sentence came down in just a few months. Full custody to Donna. Scott could only see the children with judicial authorization he never requested. After that, he disappeared for a while, vanished off the map. No phone calls, no visits, until a year later he started writing again. The letters now filled with regret. He said he missed the boys, said he was a different father, that he wanted a chance. Donna read it all, but didn't respond. He wants to get back in through a crack, but there's no space left, she told Kathleen. You're right. That's how the cycle gets broken. Time passed. Donna went back to studying. She started working from home. She helped Helen and Robert with the chores, and little by little, she took back control of her life. In the first months, she cared for the children with almost obsessive attention, as if she still feared losing them. But gradually, with the firm routine, she became a lighter, more secure mother. Andrew and Patrick grew up strong, united, and smiling. And every night when they slept in the same crib, she looked at them as if she were still learning to believe they were there. Whole. With her. One night, alone in the living room, with the two children playing on the rug, Donna smiled for the first time without guilt. She was a new woman, stronger, more aware. No one would ever make her choose between her children again. No one would ever silence her voice. She would never again hand over her life's destiny to someone else. Her greatest revenge was not destroying Scott. It was moving on, loving her children, raising them with dignity, building a home where there would never again be forced silence, veiled fear, or conditional love. And now, every time Andrew and Patrick ran through the house, stumbling into each other, shouting her name and laughing, she knew for sure no one would ever touch their fate. They were hers, and she, finally, was hers. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give it a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. See you in the next story.